back, everyone. It's Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another video. And this video actually comes thanks to a question on my Discord channel from CatfishZA, who wanted a top 5 march on the field video. And I sat down and I thought about this, and to be honest, I could come up with 4 solid marches on the field. Now, this is due to me being an infantry main, with most of my focus being in infantry heroes, and I don't want to limit this video to just infantry because that's not fair to everyone else who runs different types of troops. So I wanted to create what I thought were the 4 best marches that you can bring onto the field that will help you regardless of what you're focused in. If you have a mix of troops or if you focus on one more than the other, you can bring these troops to the field and still do fairly well and fill in your 5th march as whatever you're focused in. If you have infantry, bring another infantry troop. If you have ranged, bring another ranged troop. You get what I'm saying. With that being said, let's get into it. Yes, I was staring at Bianca, don't laugh. First one for me was really easy, and I'm doing this from a generalized perspective here. Tom and Thunder. Tom and Thunder give you a solid infantry tank that puts out a lot of buffs to your entire team. Anyone on the field is going to benefit from Tom and Thunder being together near them. Between Tom reducing its target's damage and reducing damage taken by you and up to 5 squads nearby, Thunder reducing the attack power of up to 3 squads in a fan-shaped area, as well as increasing the damage of surrounding squads. All of that paired together makes for a unit that, while people want to take down quickly, they're not going to be able to because of the sheer amount of healing that this team is going to be able to do. You do have to be careful about healing lightly wounded troops on the field, because if you heal your lightly wounded troops, you're going to recycle them into being able to be heavily wounded later. So keep that in mind the longer you stay on the field. But if you bring this pair onto the field, not many people are going to want to touch it anyway. They have other problems to deal with. As for who should lead, that honestly depends. If you want more damage, I would lead with Thunder because the damage to surrounding squads would help boost Tom's damage. If you want a little bit more tankiness, reducing the damage of your target and taken by you and nearby allies before your enemy's skill damage hits will make you a little beefier at the expense of a little bit of offense. So whoever leads is up to you, because they do have the same trees, the same talent trees. Continuing on, let's get a rider team out of the way. And most of you already know this. It's pretty much a no-brainer. Bella and Elena. Bella and Elena are one of the most solid rider teams in the game, if not the most. Between Bella's damage increase from her active skills, all of the rider attack buffs that she gives, as well as the increases to damage and basic attack damage that Elena gives throughout her skills, increases to damage on flanked targets, increases to skill damage if the target is flanked, an additional rider squad attack of 20%. All of this adds up to a single target monster. Bella Elena is good for tracking down weaker enemies and killing them quickly. And if you know how to point click your skill uses towards weaker enemies, you can focus a couple of targets at a time. I can go over that a little bit more in detail because I've been practicing that in Bounty Ground. Now, heading on over to ranged units, and honestly, this one shouldn't surprise a lot of people either. Chun Li is still one of the more powerful ranged units in the game. There is a bit of controversy as to who should lead. Should you take the hit from Chun's active skill getting weakened, but still have a higher, have the better rage requirement? Because hers costs 1200. It sucks having to wait extra time for your skills to go off. But is it worth it to have her damage be halved? Or do you lead with Lewis, pump as many points into rage generation as possible, and just hope that you get your skills off fast enough to compensate? Either way will work, but Chun Lewis is best for getting into the middle of the fray, getting a couple of skills off, and getting out before it gets hurt. You have to worry about positioning because you want to make sure that you're hitting the targets you want to hit. Lewis's AoE in a circle means that you can, it is random in that circle, sadly. It could be any 5 enemy squads in that circle, so if you try to position yourself so that you're only getting 3 or 4, that might work to your benefit, simply to make sure that you're maximizing damage on the enemies that need to die first. But all in all, Chun Lewis putting them out onto the field to just pump damage numbers is going to work out well in your favor. As for the fourth one, this might seem a little weird, but I've seen a lot of people use it to great effect, and it's pairing Raigoro with another buff or debuff unit. This could be Lee or Alex. Alex's buff boosts everybody in range. Boosts up to 5 squads in range by 40%, especially if you can get it on ranged units. Having that additional 40% attack is a lot. It can really pump the numbers of your own Chun Lewis, as well as any other ranged units around, and improve the survivability of the infantry troops. The Rider Squad HP isn't that great, because your riders aren't going to be taking too much damage unless your other units are starting to fall. And a lot of times riders can get out of the fray faster than they can get killed. Lee, also a great option, because you can't deny reducing 5 targets' attack, defense, and HP by 30% for 2 seconds, or by 35% for 2 seconds if you have them awakened, is broken. It just is. It means anyone hitting them is taking a massive amount of damage. For even if it's only for 2 seconds, you can pump those rage numbers up to where that's about a 25 to 30% uptime on that skill. And the reason I pair him with Raigoro is because Raigoro is one of those heroes that no one wants to hit. For good reason. He takes too long to kill. Can he out-heal Thunder or Tom? Absolutely not. But once that shield goes up and you can watch your numbers just disappear for 2 turns, it's very disheartening for people wanting to try and take him out. So they're going to focus on other enemies, such as any open Lees or Jadens or Chuns they see out on the field, and take them out first, leaving your Raigoro with whatever buff or debuff unit you're running alive, constantly pumping out that additional buff. Now, you will have those people that are looking for that secondary hero, but they're not going to be there's not going to be as many of those people as there are just people looking for other units. And once a group battle is started, it's hard to see that secondary unit fire off his skill. Now, I do see Alex getting replaced by Bianca later on, because having that rage generation and a flat increase to attack and defense, regardless of troop type, is ridiculous. But for the time being, Raigoro Alex or Raigoro Lee is not going to steer you wrong. Just having that additional buff and debuff out there for your team is going to really help in open field combat. because they're not going to go after it first. With that, that's the 4 best teams that I can come up with from a generalized point of view as to what you should be bringing to the field if you aren't focused on any one troop. If you have infantry, you can move infantry troops around, maybe bring out a Dut, or if you have a lot of riders, think about bringing out Catherine Cynthia or other options there. And range also has Julia that just came out, as well as Jacob, who's showing a lot of promise even in the open field. So fill in that 5th slot with one of those units or replace them out as needed. But to me, that's the 4 best units that you can bring to the field from a generalized point of view. And if you would like to come join my Discord and ask questions like that so I can make a video about them, I will post this invite into the description below as well. Feel free to pause the video and enter this into your Discord. I'm more than happy to accept you. You'll be able to post content ideas, arena discussion, questions you may have. Happy to help. And with that, this is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.